I don't remember if when we did the practice problem, if I mentioned that the closing entries we were performing are done after the financial statements are prepared at the end of the accounting period. So in case I didn't mention that, I wanted to mention that. Also, of course, the date would not have been January 31st. Our company just basically opened. But I just used it as the same date since it's just for our practice purposes. But let's go through the homework. Problem 1, the only thing I'm going to mention, I don't think you'll have a problem with it, the revenues and expenses go on an income statement, in case you didn't know that. Number 2 should be similar to the Chapter 4 practice problem that I did on the video. Number 3, adjusting entries. I think a lot of that material is going to be covered on the Chapter 3 practice and video. Number 4, again, should be similar to the practice problem for Chapter 4 and video. And number 5, I think it's a great practice. It's the steps in the accounting cycle, and you should find those steps in the study guide. So this is the only homework problem I thought there might be a question on, so I thought I'd give you an example that you could follow when you did the homework for the last homework problem. So the first item is that a payment on account of $500 to a creditor was debited to accounts payable for $50 and credited to cash for $50. So the wrong amount was used, right? So in order to take care of that, we'll just debit accounts payable for the correct amount, or I should say, for an amount that when you add the amount that was previously debited and the amount we are now debiting, it is the correct amount. And we will go ahead and credit cash again. We're going to credit cash for $450. So if you take the $450 we credited cash for, the $50 that was initially credited to cash, it's not correct. It's $500. Number 2, what occurred is a purchase of supplies was made on account, and $100 was debited to equipment. So instead of debiting supplies, they debited equipment. And it was only debited for $40. And then a credit was made to accounts payable for $40. So we need to correct that, right? We're going to have to make a few different entries. First of all, we need to debit supplies, right? So we need to debit supplies for the $100, which is what should have happened in the first place. So we need to do that. What we also need to do, right, is get the remaining balance into accounts payable because it was only credited for $40. It should have been credited for $100. So if we credit accounts payable for $60, we've now gone ahead and made up that difference. The $60 plus the $40 is $100. The last thing we've got to do is get the $100 out of equipment, right? So, of course, it would have been debited initially because equipment is an asset account. So to increase it would have been a debit. So to decrease it, we're going to credit it for that $40 that was initially debited. So that should explain that. It'll then help you with the homework. And the last one, there was a $100 withdrawal for owner's personal use. It was debited to salaries expense and credited to cash. The correct amount was done for $100, but wrong account. So all we have to do now is we're going to go ahead and debit Bob Drawings for the $100, credit salaries expense to get rid of the salary expense. Because again, salaries expense, our expense accounts normally have a debit balance, so to increase them, they're debited. So initially, salaries expense had been debited, but it was, of course, the wrong account. So this should take care of that, and all of these are now correct. Have a good week.